I pulled up to my parents' house in a Bentley Continental GT, midnight blue, the kind that catches light like water. My brother Marcus stood on the porch, wine glass frozen halfway to his mouth. Next to him, my ex-fiancée Emma gripped his arm like she was afraid of falling. I didn't smile. I didn't wave. I just stepped out, adjusted my cuff, and walked toward the door. 3 months ago, I wasn't supposed to be here at all. I was supposed to be the family embarrassment, the startup failure, the guy who couldn't keep his woman or his dignity. But standing there, watching Marcus's face drain of color, I realized something. They had no idea what was coming. Before I tell you how I got here, hit the like and subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Have you ever been the underdog in your own family? Let me know. Let me take you back to where this really started. My name is Ryan Castellano. I'm 29. For most of my life, I've been Marcus's shadow. Marcus is 3 years older, taller, louder. The kind of guy who walks into a room and people just assume he's important. He took over Dad's commercial real estate firm right out of college. Corner office, company car, the works. Me? I wanted to build something of my own, so I left the family business and started a software company. Customer management tools for small businesses. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't fast money. But it was mine. For 2 years, I worked out of a converted garage, 16-hour days, ramen for dinner. My savings account looked like a bad joke. But I had Emma. At least, I thought I did. Emma Chen. We met in college. Marketing major. Sharp, ambitious, the kind of person who color codes her calendar and her closet. When I told her I was leaving Dad's company to start my own thing, she smiled and said, "I believe in you." I believed her. Every Sunday we'd go to my parents' house for dinner. Big table, roasted chicken, Mom's famous garlic bread. And every Sunday, the same conversation. "Ryan, how's the little project going?" Dad would ask, like I was building a birdhouse. "It's growing," I'd say. Slow but steady. Marcus would lean back in his chair, swirling his wine. "You know, if you ever want a real job, I could find you something in operations. Maybe accounts payable." Mom would laugh. Not mean, just dismissive. Like it was cute that I was trying. Emma would squeeze my hand under the table. I thought that meant solidarity. I was wrong. One evening, about 6 months ago, I came home early. My key stuck in the lock, just it always did. I pushed the door open and heard voices in the living room. Emma's laugh, high, flirty, and Marcus's voice, low and smooth. I stood in the hallway, my gym bag sliding off my shoulder. "He's sweet," Emma was saying, "but Ryan's always going to be small time, you know? He doesn't have your drive." Marcus chuckled. "He's got heart, just not the instincts. I need someone who can keep up with me," Emma said. "Someone who's already there." My chest tightened. My ears rang. I backed out, closed the door quietly, and sat in my car for 20 minutes. Then I drove to a diner and ordered coffee I didn't drink. When I came home later that night, Emma was on the couch watching TV like nothing had happened. Marcus was gone. "Where were you?" she asked. "Work," I lied. She kissed my cheek. I didn't pull away. I just filed it somewhere deep and cold. 2 weeks later, we went to Marcus's birthday party. He rented out a rooftop bar downtown. Exposed brick. String lights. A jazz band playing in the corner. Emma wore the red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. I wore a blazer that was 3 years old and starting to pill at the elbows. Marcus gave a toast. He thanked everyone for coming. Thanked Dad for building an empire I'm proud to lead. Thanked his friends, his team, his incredible support system. He looked right at me when he said that last part and smiled. Emma clapped, loudly. After the toast, I went to the bathroom. When I came back, Emma and Marcus were on the balcony, alone. She was laughing at something he said, her hand resting on his chest. I walked up slowly. Neither of them noticed me. You always know what to say, Emma murmured. Marcus grinned. It's a gift. I cleared my throat. They turned. Emma's smile didn't falter. Marcus raised his glass. Ryan, there you are. We were just talking about you. I'm sure you were, I said. That night, back at the apartment, I asked her straight. Are you sleeping with Marcus? She blinked. Her face went blank, then hard. What? You heard me. She didn't deny it. She just sighed like I'd asked her to explain something obvious. Ryan, I need more. You're a good guy, but you're not going anywhere. So that's a yes. It just happened, she said, her voice flat. He understands me. He's stable. He's my brother. And maybe that's the problem, she shot back. You've always been competing with him. And you're losing. The next morning, I found the ring I'd bought her, 2 months of savings, sitting on the kitchen counter. No note, just the ring. She moved out that weekend. 1 week later, Marcus posted a photo on Instagram. Him and Emma at a wine tasting. Caption, good company, great wine. 53 likes. My mom commented with a heart emoji. I called Dad. Did you know? He hesitated. Ryan, these things happen. You'll move on. Did you know? Marcus is happy. Emma's happy. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I hung up. That night, I sat alone in my empty apartment. The walls felt too close. The silence was deafening. I opened my laptop and stared at my company's dashboard. Revenue was climbing. Slowly, but climbing. And then I saw the email. Subject line, acquisition interest. A venture capital firm wanted to talk. They'd been watching my growth metrics. They thought my software had scalable potential. I read the email 3 times. Then I smiled for the first time in 2 weeks. I met with the VC firm next Monday, a glass office in the financial district. 3 partners in tailored suits. They offered me 2 options. Sell outright for $1.2 million, or take their funding and scale aggressively. What's the catch? I asked. No catch, said the lead partner, a woman named Diane Mercer. You've built something lean and profitable. That's rare. We want in. I took the funding. Series A, $3.5 million. The next 6 months were a blur. I hired a team, paid off my debts, moved into a bigger office. My software started landing enterprise clients. Banks, hospitals, chains, revenue doubled, then tripled. I didn't tell my family. I didn't post online. I just worked. One afternoon, Diane called me into her office. We've got a problem, she said. My stomach dropped. What kind of problem? The good kind. We're getting acquisition offers. Big ones. 3 companies wanted to buy me out. One of them was a private equity group that owned, among other things, a controlling share in Castellano Properties. My father's company. Marcus's company. I stared at the paperwork. How much are they offering? 18 million. The room tilted. I sat down. What do you want to do? Diane asked. I thought about Emma's words. You're not going anywhere. I thought about Marcus's smirk. He's got heart, just not the instincts. I thought about my mom's laugh, my dad's silence. I want to take the deal, I said, but I have one condition. The acquisition closed in 43 days. I signed the papers in a conference room that smelled like leather and old money. My lawyer shook my hand. Diane smiled. What are you going to do now? She asked. Something I should have done a long time ago, I said. I bought the Bentley the next week. Used but pristine. Midnight blue with cream leather interior. I drove it once around the block just to feel the engine hum. Then I waited. Sunday dinners at my parents' house were still happening. I knew because Marcus posted about them. Family time photos. Emma in the background, smiling. I hadn't been invited in months, but I didn't need an invitation. The day before Thanksgiving, I got a text from Mom. We're doing a pre-holiday dinner tomorrow. Just family. You're welcome to come if you're not busy. Just family. As if I'd ever been anything else. I didn't reply. The next evening I put on a charcoal suit. Tom Ford. The tag still attached that morning. I paired it with a white shirt. No tie. Polished my shoes until they gleamed. Then I got in the Bentley and drove to my parents' house. The driveway was full. Marcus's Range Rover. Dad's Audi. Emma's little white sedan. I pulled into the driveway anyway. Right behind Marcus's Range Rover. The Bentley's headlights swept across the front of the house. I turned off the engine. The purr faded to silence. Through the living room window, I could see warm light. Movement. The dinner was already started. I checked my reflection in the rearview mirror. Took a breath. Then stepped out. The driver's door closed with a solid, expensive thunk. Marcus was on the porch, wine glass in hand. He must have stepped out for air, or maybe to take a call. He froze when he saw me. His eyes traveled from my face to the car behind me. The front door opened. Emma stepped out, laughing at something someone inside had said. Then she saw Marcus's expression. Followed his gaze. Saw me. Her laugh died in her throat. The wine glass in Marcus's hand trembled slightly. I opened the door without knocking. Evening, I said. The room went silent. Mom's mouth opened. Dad stood slowly, his carving knife still in hand. Ryan, Mom said. I know, I said. I wasn't invited. But I thought I'd stop by anyway. Marcus recovered first. He leaned back in his chair, forced to smile. Nice suit. New job. Something like that, I said. I pulled an envelope from my jacket and set it on the table. Actually, I wanted to give you this. Marcus frowned. He opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. He scanned it. His face went pale. What is it? Emma asked. Marcus didn't answer. He just stared at the paper. Dad leaned over. Marcus, what? It's a merger memo, Marcus said, his voice tight. Castellano Properties is being absorbed into a larger equity group. I know, I said calmly. I sold my company to them. Part of the deal included a consulting seat on their acquisitions board. I recommended they streamline operations, cut redundant executive positions. Marcus looked up at me. What are you saying? I'm saying you're being restructured. Effective January. They'll offer you a severance package. Generous, actually. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. Mom looked at Dad. Is this true? Dad's jaw worked. He didn't answer. I turned to Emma. By the way, Emma, I heard you got promoted at your firm. Congrats. Though I should mention, your company's software vendor contract is up for renewal next quarter. Funny coincidence, but my old company, well, the company that bought mine, they're bidding on it. And I've been consulting on vendor selection. Her face went white. Ryan, Marcus said, standing. You can't. I didn't do anything, I interrupted. I just built something. Something you said I'd never finish. Something you laughed at while you were screwing my fiancé. The words hung in the air like smoke. Mom's fork clattered onto her plate. Dad sat down heavily. You don't get to show up here and... Marcus started. And what? I said. Succeed? Prove you wrong? Make you uncomfortable? I looked around the table, at the faces that used to feel like home. I spent years thinking I wasn't good enough for this family, that I needed to earn my seat at this table. But the truth is I was never the problem. You were. All of you. Mum's eyes filled. Ryan, we didn't mean... Yes, you did, I said quietly. You meant every laugh, every dismissive comment, every time you chose him over me. And that's fine. But I don't owe you anything anymore. I walked to the door, paused, turned back. Enjoy dinner. Then I left. I sat in the Bentley for a moment, hands on the wheel. My chest was tight. My throat ached. But underneath it all, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Free. I drove home slowly. The city lights blurred past. When I got to my apartment, I poured a glass of whiskey and stood by the window. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. We need to talk. I deleted it. Another text. From Mom. Please come back. Let's work this out. I turned off my phone. The next morning, Emma called from a different number. I let it ring. A week later, I got an email from Dad. Subject, family. I didn't open it. I'm not saying I'm proud of how it ended. I'm not even sure it's over. But for the first time in my life, I chose myself. And that felt like enough. Marcus did get restructured. Last I heard, he's working for a competitor. Smaller firm, smaller office. Emma's company didn't renew with my vendor partners. She's still at her firm. But I heard through mutual friends that things are tense. Mum sends me cards on holidays. I don't respond. Not out of cruelty, just because I'm not ready. Dad tried to meet me for coffee once. I saw him through the window of the cafe, sitting alone, looking older than I remembered. I kept walking. Maybe one day I'll be ready to forgive. Maybe I won't. But I'm not measuring my worth by their approval anymore. I'm not the family disappointment. I'm not Marcus's shadow. I'm Ryan Castellano. And I showed up in a Bentley because I could. If you've ever felt like the underdog in your own family, drop a comment. Tell me your story. And if this hit home, don't forget to like and subscribe. You never know when you'll need a reminder that you're enough, exactly as you are.